Hi, there's Kevin with the Rogue Market here with a long overdue video. It's been a while since there's been a video on this channel, and I want to do these at least once a month. We probably should be moving these to bi-monthly for products that I think are good buys. I've done these before on the channel, top 10 list of products that I currently think are good pickups, especially if you are a patron. You can go and check out my Patreon tiers over at patreon.com/rogue deck builder. Basically, the TLDR is you get products at distributor price, meaning the price that I pay as a local game store is what I pass those savings on to you if you support the channel through Patreon. Anyway, let's get to it. So what I want to talk about today is the correlation between box EV and box prices. Now, this doesn't always hold true. We can see things like Dominaria. Dominaria has a booster box price of 145, or even go up to something like Kaladesh that has the box price of 255, and their EV is nowhere near the box price, and yet these boxes are expensive booster boxes. But I do think that this does hold true for boxes that are cheap. Once they do start to approach that 70, 75, 80% of their box EV, meaning the expected value that you could pull by cracking up a booster box and just parsing out the singles, then the price of the sealed product must give, meaning it must go up. So the ones that I'm going to talk about today are going to be Core 2020, Core 2019, Ixalan, and Dominaria, because they are all above that threshold. And I think that the box prices are going to start trending up on eBay and Amazon and distributors. So right now is a good time to be picking up these particular boxes. So if we go over to Donglair, we can look at these particular sets. If we go over to the set EV here on Donglair, it will give us a kind of a list of all of the booster boxes and the prices. You can go to donglair.com, and then it's mtg.donglair.com, and then you go here to the more and the set EV, and you can pull this up. There are a couple other sites like MTG Price that can show this as well, but I think Donglair, just having it all spliced out here, is a easy way to look at the pricing of sets. So if we go over to the first one, let's talk about Core 2020. So I really like Core 2020 right now. It's got an average expected value of $82.51. You can still get booster boxes between 80 and 85. My price is 84 from the distributor I use, and Core 2020 has some really good cards in it in the form of like Omnoth and Field of the Dead, and even uncommons like Veil of Summer. And what I really like about Core 2020 is the ley lines. So Leyline of Void, Leyline of Anticipation, and Leyline of the Sanctity are all things that are going to age very well. You have cards like Golos, you have Elvish Reclaimer that have been trending up, and even things that I think are going to age very, very well, like Agents of Treachery and Lotus Field. So this is the box value versus the box price, of course, is you're not going to pull your value if you do crack these. You're going to be short, but not by much. And the whole reason I like to show this is we saw this, just historically speaking, we saw this happen with both Ixalan and Amonkhet. Both of those, the box prices didn't start to go up until it did hit that threshold, and then they really went up. So Rivals of Ixalan was just like Ixalan. You could find them for all over the place for 85 bucks. Once the box price actually surpassed or came close to that, then the prices of Rivals of Ixalan shot through the roof for the sealed booster box price. So right now you can see the Rivals of Ixalan has about a box value of 100 bucks. It got up to 102 in October, and the box price followed. So the actual price you'd actually pay for a box went up to 120. So it went right back down below that 70% threshold to where the box price now reflects. So these ones I think are particularly good, especially Core 2020. Now it's rotated out of Standard. It still has some good cards that are in Pioneer and in Commander. That it wasn't reprinted as much as the sets around it. That's what I like about Core sets, is they're often ignored. In fact, I don't believe there's going to be a Core set next year. I think they're just doing a regular old set instead of the Core set. As I think Wizards has found out that they just don't sell very well. They keep going back and forth on this idea of core sets. Well, they like them for the health of Standard, being able to put reprints, being able to have cards that are more tied to different planes in just a core set, and then that's a good way to get reprints in, but they just don't sell very well. And so I think that they're just going to go off these core sets and go to more of the thematic sets going forward, and then try to get reprints in other fashions. So anyway, the Core 2020 is a good buy at 84 bucks. I don't think that the price is going to last much longer. I think it might, because it hasn't rotated forever, so you have some time on this one. The next one I don't think you have time on is Core Set 2019. Now, this was a stinker of a set. No one really liked it. Core Set 2019 was one of the were sets that there just was really nothing excited about when it was reprinted, but it did have some powerhouses of mythics in the form of Crucible of Worlds, Omniscience, Scapeshift. These were all cards that got completely crushed when it was reprinted, but now have since recovered. We have Crucible of Worlds pushing 45. We have Omniscience pushing 15. We have Scapeshift back up to 20. These are staples of staples in the Commander format, and I think that this is a set that is going to age well because of these particular cards. There's also some fun ones like Goreclaw, Stitcher's Supplier, the Runic Armisar. This is a card that snuck up on us here. This is a card I got in for a quarter a piece and is now up to 350. And this kind of reflects, I think Runic Armisar is a perfect card to, and same thing as Stitcher's Supplier, is a perfect card to kind of reflect the value of core, or just the supply of core set 2019 being much, much, much lower. If these cards were printed in any other set, I think they'd be worth a lot less. But since they're in core 2019 with the low supply, that this is the cards of this that were printed in them have the ability to go up to these price ranges. So core set 2019, I don't think you're going to have much time. I think it's going to be like a Rivals of Ixalan that's just going to sneak up on us. It's going to be $80 one day, and then it's going to be $120 the next day. So I wouldn't wait to get on core set 2019. The next one I want to talk about is Ixalan. Ixalan I can get for $90 a box, and it is just creeped up about around that price of 80% of the box EV, around $70. Ixalan also has some goodies in here in the form of like Growing Rights of Itlimic. We have Vanquisher's Banner. We have a pretty good land cycle in the form of Drowned Catacombs. These tend to get reprinted in standard sets again and then go back up in value. They're also, typically, they are very popular lands to be putting in Commander color pairs. However, things like Thematic Compass in this set, like Primal Amulet, Search for Azcanta, cards I think are going to start to recover, like Settle the Wreckage and Legion's Landing. These were crushed because they were in their Challenger decks, and I think those are old enough now that these type of cards are going to start going up in value. And I think it's another good box to get in on. I think it's going to be very similar to like Shadows of Innistrad or Rivals of Ixalan, that one day it was $80 and the next day you're paying $100 for the sealed box of the Ixalan. So I think it's their last time to get in on this price point at under $100. Last but definitely not least is going to be Gatecrash. Gatecrash is a goodie. So I don't know why Gatecrash is so inexpensive comparatively to the sets around it. So Gatecrash is 105, Return to Ravnica is 110, but the value is much, much, much higher in Gatecrash than it is in Return to Ravnica. It's got a good $10 difference for, $7 difference for Gatecrash. Gatecrash has the Shocklands, which I think are going to be staples long term for Pioneer. And so if you do have faith in Pioneer being the new modern, then Shocks are the new fetches. Those are going to be the ones that are be sought after. Shocks also are put in every Commander deck. Fetches do have the nod because you can play fetch lands in any Commander deck because they don't have a color. So anything basically that says, like if you're going to get a Steam Vents, for example, you can throw any of the red fetches or the blue fetches to go get your Steam Vents in Commander, or your dual land from original dual land from Revised. So of course those are why fetch lands have, and they go to your graveyard. There's a lot of things that make fetch lands, of course, better than Shocklands, but Shocklands do go in basically every Commander deck that can run them. So we have Gatecrash that has the Shockland of the goodies too, I believe. You have like Sacred, you have the Sacred Foundry, Watergrave in the Gatecrash. You have also some of these Commander staples like Illusionist Bracers and Crypt Gas, and we have also some good mythics in the form of Aurelia, Hellkite Tyrant, Leyland of Void. Very, very good cards in Gatecrash, and I think the price has been increasing pretty steadily. Like, we do have a dip here, but all of Magic is dipping. We're going into a bear market. I'll talk more about it on my Market Monday over at the Rogue Deck Builder. We're going to get a consistent swing of at least releasing those, where we're heading into a bear market. Just way too much product that have been printed in the last few months. Really this whole year has just been a dumpster fire of too many printings. We have Secret Layers being printed like crazy. We have Double Masters. We have Commander Legends. We have Jumpstart. We have just so much stuff that the market just cannot handle it. And I'm hoping that they lay back and allow the market to recover. And if so, even things like these older sets will have a even better time to recover and then start being worth more of their value. It's just really, really crazy that a set like Gatecrash, even though the supply was very, very high of this, has been able to hold this sub 100 price tag. Now this is what? This is like a 6-year-old set now. This is getting old in the scope of things. So Gatecrash, I think, is a good one to get in on this price. Now, I'm going to talk about something that is a real big perk of the Patreon is often distributors do specials. Right now, one of our distributors is doing a special where if you buy 4 Commander decks, you basically get a Challenger deck free. So Commander 2019, if you buy a case of it, which is 4 sets of Commander 2019, you can get a Challenger deck for $410 for the entire bundle. So 4 Commander decks, 1 Challenger deck. So that is my price out the door after all the shipping and stuff like that. It's going to be $410 for this combination. Now, I don't think either one of these are stinkers. Like Challenger decks were they were okay this year. What I do like about Challenger decks this year is they're still relevant. Most of the cards, except for this Allied Fires, are still relevant in Commander, like the ones from Final Adventure. Having cards like the Murderous Rider, we have the Lovestruck Beast. All those are still, you can make a deck. In fact, that's a deck that is starting to get a resurgence again in Standard. You have the Cavalcade Charges, mainly Standard cards, in the form of getting an Embercleave, a Tobran. You have the Castle Embereth in here. We have staples like Light Up the Stage. Then we have the Flash of Furiosity 2 that still has cards like the Mystical Disputes in here. You have Aether Gusts, which are going to be aged very well in Pioneer. And you even have the Powerhouse of Brazen Bar, that even sees Legacy play. So I think that these are pretty good cards. They're included in this year's Challenger deck list. You do get like a Steam Vents. Yeah, lots of cards here that I think are going to age well. Fabled Passage is in here. Castle Vantris. I think all the castles, a lot of Castle Vantris, Castle Embereth. Do we get a castle out of this one? We have Castle Locktwain, and not a castle out of this last one, out of the mana base, I don't believe. But that's pretty good, too. I think the castles are going to age well. I think these Challenger decks are they're better than the year before. Probably still not as good as the original Challenger decks. However, I think that it's just the price point. When analyzing a product, the price point is where you definitely want to focus on. I think this is a really good pickup at $410. I think originally Challenger decks distributor prices were $140 for a set of Challenger decks, and Commander was around $100. So basically, like I said, it's like buying a case of Commander 2019, they throw in a Challenger deck for free. Now let's look at Commander 2019. Commander 2019 was definitely a stinker set. There wasn't a lot to get excited for. I think Dockside Extortionist was really the only card that held value, but Dockside Extortionist is now reaching up to $32. You have a few other cards in here that are around the $5 range. You got some staples like Ghostly Prisons. You have Theron Dynamo in here, and even some cards out of Primal Genesis that aren't too terrible. You get your Soul Rings, you get your Lightning Greaves, and whatnot. So, piecing these out, I think, is still pretty good. You have an Orin Frostfang, I guess, is what the second most worth card in this set. So again, this is kind of a terrible product. They haven't been doing very well with these Commander products. Commander Ikoria also has now been pretty much a stinker set. And when Commander Ikoria gets blown out, I think that will be a good pickup again. You really have to just focus on when to pick these prices. There's a time for everything, even these sets that are considered lackluster. So yeah, Challenger decks 2020, Commander decks 2019, they weren't the greatest of sets, but at this price, comparatively speaking to other products, I think that these are just a slam dunk knock out of the park. So those are my 5 picks right now. I think of products that are really, really good pickups. We have Core Set 2020, Core Set 2019, Ixalan, Gatecrash, and the Challenger deck Commander combination. Now, if you are interested in that Commander Challenger deck combination, please get me the money ASAP. I'm not sure if they're going to have this go on for another week. So I'm going out of town for the weekend, going fishing. So if you do want that order, you are to Patreon, definitely shoot me a message quick so we can have the money in so I can get that order in tomorrow before I leave on the trip. All right, so now I'm going to transition over to the 5 products that I like, and we're going to do it in the kind of the Gone Rogue style. So I have another channel called Gone Rogue Games where I try to do some product reviews, and I've done one for this week's episode for 5 accessories that I like to pick up at their price point, or are just products that I use at the shop that I think are great buys. We'll transition over to that now. All right, for this episode, I thought I'd do something special and do kind of a crossover for my other channel, Gone Rogue Games, where I do a lot of product reviews. We do some fluff like box openings and profit or losses. I moved everything that's more fluff related over to the Gone Rogue Games channel, but there is a lot of content that does review products, and that's where I do want to start focusing on that channel more, is actually what people are buying and what people are purchasing and what products I find are worth your while to pick up. So for the accessories this week, I am going to start off with one that came out with Ultra Pro, and this is the Alcove. This is what's called the Great Wave Alcove. So Ultra Pro releases these, I think they do one a year, maybe they do a couple a year of this, what they call classic arts, and it used to be just sleeves, and the sleeve quality was pretty terrible of the old art sleeves they made from Ultra Pro, but I believe they are doing like a playmat, an alcove with this, as well as sleeves. And this one is just very beautiful artwork. Had a lot of people that do want this. You can't even pre-order it quite yet, but I'm sure it's going to be very similar to other alcove prices. I'll put prices somewhere here on the screen that people can look at and see if they're worthwhile. But I do like these alcove boxes. Typically, some of the alcoves are larger. They'll have like the dice tray. It's kind of similar to what Dragon Shield does. They have the normal ones here. And then they have the deluxe version that holds the dice tray, so they're a little bigger. And I've liked the alcoves in the past, as I think that they are very decent for holding cards. The quality's pretty good. Like, you can get some bad apples with these for sure that will start to fray. But for the most part, they do have some pretty good durability. I don't understand why like a deck box like this would have to have like insane durability if you're keeping your backpack and just, you know, cards out on the table, done with. You don't have to worry about it being able to survive World War II. So all in all, I think it's a very good quality product. The beautiful art with the alcove. I'm really looking forward to ordering a ton of these when they do finally get released. The second one we're going to take out is sleeves. I've actually been won over this. Gamegenic was the gold standard for perfect fits, but what I've been having a problem with Gamegenic is there are some sleeves that are just tight, and they're impossible to slip in the sleeve without it being pushing out the top. And I'm really sold on just Dragon Shield perfect fit side loaders because I think they're the perfect solution. I know Ultra Pro does come up with these, but I find them a little bit loose and sometimes they're not quite big enough to cover the entire card. I think the Dragon Fit perfect fit side loaders are the perfect for sleeves. Like, I've noticed the Eclipses and Ultimate Guard Katanas and old Dragon Shields. So Dragon Shields, the newer and improved ones, can easily slide in just a regular Gamegenic sleeve or even like a KMC or a Ultra Pro or a Legion or even their own brand. No problem into the newer sleeves, but their older versions, these are some night blue when they used to come into 60s. And what will happen with like a regular perfect fit from Gamegenic is it will pop out. And the solution to that though is these side loads. You just side load these in. They protect the sides of it just fine, and you can see that's still nice and snug from the Dragon Shield. And then they can go in these tight kind of classic sleeves, these Dragon Shield Classics, without popping out because you can keep the tension on it the entire time. There is no way I could have got a sleeve in there without it popping up the top of it. I wish I had one here. I didn't come prepared here. I think this is a penny sleeve right here. Oh, yeah, look at me not prepared. But they will just slide out, and you'll get this little lip that will happen on top of your card. And that does not happen with the Dragon Shields, and they come out just fine as well. Sometimes that can be an issue too, is a sleeve popping out. And so side loads, I've been completely won over by these. So the price is pretty reasonable with the Dragon Fit, or the Dragon Shield Perfect Fits. I think you can pick these up. They retail for like $8, I think, $7.99 a pack, so I think I can get them for $4. Maybe they're $6.99 is what they retail for, but still pretty reasonable for 100 card sleeves. And they come in like smoke too, that can take away the glare. Like if you have glared sleeves, you can get smoke and then they'll take away the glare of the glared sleeves. So really huge fan now with the perfect fits, which still they're about twice as expensive as the Gamegenic. So keep that in mind. I'm hoping that Gamegenic does come out with a side load alternative. I'm interested to know why you don't use side loads. Is there a reason that people like the top loads a little bit better? I mean, most people, what they do for the top load ones is you're going to put them in upside down to begin with, and so you have the protection on the top, but you really have the protection all the way around here as we get blared by the fire truck that's going by my office here. You'll still have the protection on the corner, which I think is where you want the protection. And I don't think you really need it because the sleeve is going to be protecting here on the card sleeve. So I don't know why, if there really isn't a reason now. One thing I've also noticed too with perfect fits from like Gamegenic, KMC, etc., is they start to lose their durability. So if you're like unsleeving cards or taking them in and out, then they're going to get harder and harder to push back into more sleeves. So works on the classic, and it also can work on these old school art ones. By the way, these are also good buys. I didn't put them as my top buys this week because I think I've showcased them before. As I bought these out when they went on closeout. Made sure I scooped them all up with some of these old school Dragon Shield, because Dragon Shield is just top notch. But here's an old school matte one as well. You can see it's got some tension going here. It would be popping out right now. It'd be popping through the sleeve, and then you get this lip going and it does not do it with the Dragon Shield one. So perfect A+ with this particular Dragon Shield perfect fit side loader. All right, let's switch gears. Actually, let's not switch gears. Let's go back to just another product that I really like is this Gamegenic 200 value sleeve pack. This is something that we do for board games. These sleeves can take a beating. We've played this game to death, and you're actually going to see it here in a second for one of my other picks, but the card quality of the sleeve is still holding up. This has been shuffled and mashed and thrown around, and it is starting to show some wear and tear. You can see on some of these cards, the corners and the top are starting to get a little bit bent. But man, oh man, for a budget sleeve that gets the job done for board games, if you're not worried about, like, you know, covering the backs of stuff, and if you just want clear sleeves, they also make good shipping sleeves. I don't know if you want to be paying that type of money for. Usually what people do is just use discarded sleeves for that. But these Gamegenic ones are absolutely wonderful for sleeving cards. We'll just take another look at that. They have very nice and thick here on the cards. The transparency is pretty good on them, so they're not going to dull your board game at all. And they can fit perfect fit. So we have the Dragon Shield perfect fit in here. Goes in the Gamegenic just regular sleeve. Boom, bada bing, bada boom, and it's nice fit on here, nice tight fit. And these value packs are pretty decent because you get, I think this ends up being about $6. I'll have it on the sheets, so if you're a patron, I'll link you a commonly ordered sheets, and this value pack will definitely be on there. And I've been scooping these up every time they do come available, because these are another thing that's hard for Gamegenic to keep in stock from the various suppliers. I believe 2 distributors carry Gamegenic, and then you can actually get them through the manufacturer themselves, which I have an account with. But yeah, no, these are very good sleeves. They hold up well, and they're my choice for just, you know, sleeving any standard size board game, or, you know, they're pretty good too with Magic if you're just looking for like a clear sleeve for it. So I would put it on par with like even like these classics from Dragon Shield. I think that they're not quite as thick, but sometimes, you know, less thick is they're not really slippery either for board games. But I'll show you the shuffle feel here with this board game of how it works out. So we have, this game gets shuffled like crazy. It is starting to catch a little bit now, but man, we're talking 100 plus games with this silly little card game. So the shuffle feel is also pretty decent. Slides right in, no little resistance, slides right out. And for an alternative with these like lower end, like Ultra Pro ones will start to catch. The corners are pretty bad, in my opinion. Dragon Shield, you're just gonna be paying like twice as much for basically the same product. I don't know if they've come out with the matte version yet for, because some people do like that kind of matte feel with Gamegenic, but as it is, this is just the best budget sleeve for clear sleeves to sleeve your board games. Now, while we're at it though, let's just transition to my board game pick of the week, or of the month for items. This is Point Salad. Point Salad, I do believe, did win some awards last year. It came out in 2019. If everyone's familiar with the terminology of Point Salad in board game, it's just usually games that try to create a point salad, score as many points possible. So this one is fun. It gets to the table more than any other game right now. It has surpassed like Century Golem or Splendor, or I'm trying to think of some other games that really clank, that really get to the table, because this is just a fast game. Games can be done in like 15 minutes. You can play multiple games. You can play this over rounds. And it's pretty appealing from casual to all the way up to people that actually do enjoy board games. And that's hard to do with a board game, because usually the gamers will get disinterested in typical, what I call pleb games, the traditional, like the Monopolies type stuff, or these other card games like Apples to Apples, or I'm trying to think of some of even the point scoring games that. This one is just a nice little in-depth, easy to play. Basically, what you do is you're going to shuffle all these together, and then they're going to go in a market of random vegetables that you can pick from. And then there'll be 3 piles of these point cards. And once per turn, you can either take 2 vegetables from the market, or you can take 2 point cards, and the point cards are 1 point card, excuse me, and the point cards are going to dictate how you actually score points. So this one is going to say the player, or if you have this, you have the most carrots, you get 10 points. So that, of course, you're going to be wanting to pick up some carrots and then pick up some other point cards, maybe like this one, that also do give you payoffs for getting carrots as well. So this one gives you a point for a carrot and a tomato. And again, this one really surprised me. This is not my type of game. I'm not a big point salad gamer. I do like strategy games when it comes to board games, but as far as something that can really bridge the gap between casual and you know, more franchise board gamers, I think this one's a great one. And it's very, very tough to come up with these type of games in this day and age because you need some bling, you need some. It's mechanically like most things have been done before. I mean, there's been a game. I'm sure there's plenty of games that are like this throughout the history of gaming, but I don't think that they've been able to capture one that flows so well. And like I said, this is a multiple. Look how beat up these sleeves are. It's had multiple plays since I've had this game, and it's just a great pickup. So if you're looking for like a good family game, Point Salad I cannot recommend enough, and that is my pick for this week. Alrighty, so no, it's kind of like I've transitioned. It used to be this video where I talk about 10 things to invest in. Well, it's kind of hard at this day and age with Magic to find sealed product that is actually worthwhile without being repetitive month to month. You know, I pick Modern Horizons from now until the end of until it actually starts going up. But anyway, last but not least, another product I do want to showcase that we're having a lot of people order is this bad boy here. This is kind of like the gold standard of binders. I would actually rate this as good or better than the Ultimate Guard. Now, can you think what the Ultimate Guard are ones are called? The Flex Folios? Is that what they call them? Or the Dragon Shields, or even the high-end Ultra Pro ones. I've never been a fan of even the high-end Ultra Pro binders, but this is the Dex Protection Zip Folio is what this sucker is. So it's got just all around just great craftsmanship all around this here with the zipper. I highly do encourage zippers just in case something does happen. You do have all your cards that are nice and zipped up. So you can see that this is pretty good quality all the way through. It's not going to get scuffed up and start to fray anywhere. They've got all their seams that are completed. They got a nice little bridge here on the back of it. And we've actually branded this one with our Gun Rogue Games logo, so it just really pops. It adheres nicely to the binder. There's a little bit of texture on here, but nothing that can't adhere to. So we can actually do these branded, kind of like these playmats that you're seeing in front of you, or if you just want the Dex binder by itself, it's a great addition. These look great on the shelves with the variety of colors there are. And then this is just the top-notch quality. You have this, I don't know what they call this, wannabe velvet stuff in here, but this is the binder. It's got some protective pages here to make sure that your cards are. What usually happens if you don't have one of these, I'll have to show you one for what Ultra Pro did with their. It just ticks me off what they did with their new D&D binder, which is expensive, by the way. It's a very expensive binder, and they don't have one of these. And so what happens is the first page that ends up being the protective page, and it can get like crumpled up and actually. You know, kind of muffed up. So if you do have this, it's going to protect your pages as well. But nice little binder as well. Everything slides right in. It's got nice little tight fits, but not overly tight. Some people do like a tighter feel on the binders, but this allows you to do a sleeve, a double sleeve, and even like a triple sleeve. And some binders that are tighter don't allow that to happen. So for example here, this one's going to be a double sleeve, and it's going to fit in here nice and snug, and it's not going to give me any issues of staying in here. So you can see it's actually even a little bit roomy to, if you have even a sleeve over a sleeve, I'm sure it can fit that, and it's not going anywhere. Look at this, it's not going to be pushed out, not going to be shaked out, and just a very, very high quality binder. What pushes this over the top for decks, this of course is the 4, you can get it in 3s. And they're a little bit more manageable in backpacks, so you just get them in the traditional, what they call 18 pockets or 9 pockets. This one is the 12 pocket or 24 pocket. And what pushes this over the top, in my opinion, with Ultimate Guard and some of the other competitors is the price point is I think this is $19, and I think that for something comparable from Ultimate Guard, you're looking at paying like $23. And so you're saving a significant chunk of change by going this route. So that's the ones I have for you this week. So I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, you can come check out my channel over at Gone Rogue Games, where I'll be doing a ton of reviews for products. We've got some good ones coming up with my favorite combo with Ultimate Guard, and some other comparing Ultimate Guard with the new Gamegenic dungeon as well as the Dex Protection dungeon. So if you're interested in those type of videos, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and come over to Gone Rogue Games. And you can find it in my channel or in the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.